Hi everybody, John back again. I've been showing records that I've collected in the sort of second half of last year, or perhaps mainly through the whole year, that I hadn't had a chance to show because I was really focusing on prog mainly last year on my videos. But these are records released in the 70s that I collected last year. It's mainly rock, mainly 70s rock, but there's a few bits and pieces of other things in here as well. But let's see how we get on. So I'll start off with this record. This is the Unobtainable T-Rex. I believe I picked this up in the summer when I got together and met with Sean Whelan, and we went record digging in the vinyl record store in Cardiff, amongst other places. And I think, if memory serves me right, I bought it then. Anyway, so it's it's a T-Rex album. It's pretty much Mark and his wife, and it's not really my favourite kind of stuff. I really like early T-Rex, you know, Electric Warrior, Slider and all that sort of stuff. But as his records went on, I always feel that there's something about them that just didn't appeal to me. They'd lost that sort of homely edge and started to become a little bit more, what's the word? Yeah, maybe, you know, like he'd found a formula and he was sort of trying to push that formula a little bit too far. I should really revisit those records. Adam, keen ear, showed a couple of T-Rex records yesterday, and you know, I said as much to him. If I perhaps listen to them now, because when I first heard those late records by T-Rex and Mark Bolan, it didn't take me long to decide it's not really for me. But it was about 30 years ago now, so maybe I should spend a bit more time and listen to them, and maybe I'd hear them in a different way now. I don't know. Next record I'll show, now this is MFP, Music for Pleasure, but it's a compilation by The Move. I've got another compilation by The Move with a different cover. It's called Fire Brigade. And you just don't see many records by The Move over here in the UK. I mean, they're a British band. Of course, it's Roy Wood, you know, before he formed Wizard and went on to form Electric Light Orchestra. But yeah, it's a sort of a compilation, greatest hits type thing of the time, and it's a nice record. Really good to have it, but it's so strange that you just don't see many records by The Move about. So when I saw this, again, I grabbed it. I wasn't going to take any chances. It didn't cost me very much, 3 or 4 quid maybe. But there you go. Grab these things when you can. I'll follow that up and show this one. This is the Electric Light Orchestra, the first album by them. This comes from the charity shop that I bought some 1950s, early 60s rock and roll music that I spoke of in a recent video. I wouldn't be surprised if this was part of the same collection. It's on Harvest. It's a record I've sort of kept my eye out for a while. There's something really quite nice about the production on this. I really like the cello in it. It's right up front in the mix, and obviously sort of a reference to is it Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles, I think. And yeah, essentially that's the whole ELO career is pretty much based on that, as far as I can tell. But in this, it's sort of undiluted and right up front, and I just like that sort of the texture of that sound. I think it goes really well with the music. I'm not sure, but I think this is about the only ELO album that Roy Wood is part of. I might be wrong, but I think he didn't hang around very long in the beginning. This is some VCLT that I got sent. James Griffiths sent me some VCLT earlier in the year, last year, and this was amongst that lot. It's Birds. He actually asked me beforehand, what albums by the Birds do you have? And I said that I had the first one and the last one by them. And not really anything in between, so he sent me this. What did I think about this? Well, I'm glad to have it. Certainly going to keep it in my collection. But it's a bit, well, it's a bit country rock orientated, much more than what I was expecting. I've heard some people say that they really like it for that reason, and I think probably something I've got to work towards. Since then I've listened a bit to the Birds, and yeah, the country stuff that they do, or the stuff that leans heavier sort of towards country, is perhaps less to my taste. But well, you know, they're such an iconic band, such an important band. I really guess I just got to get over that, haven't I? Take a leaf out of Headley's hat and really learn to enjoy it. Another record I picked up when I was with Sean in Cardiff was this. This is the very famous Tusk album by Fleetwood Mac. I think they had like a 50% sale, so this was marked up at 20 quid, and I essentially paid a tenner for it. I don't know if everybody's aware, but when this came out, this album, the packaging was the most expensive packaging of a record ever produced up to that time. I think they spent a fortune on it. There you go. Warner Boss. I had this album on CD for a while now, and it's always given me a bit of a headache. Something about the production. I mean, as with most Fleetwood Mac albums, towards the end, they sort of take it in turns, don't they? You've got various different vocalists, composers and things, and I understand that much of this was made by Lindsey Buckingham, and he did it on a sort of like a really simple recording apparatus, and for me it sounds really, really bright. The sort of the peaks, the trebles in this, there's something about it, but it kind of gives me a bit of a headache, or at least it used to when I only had the CD of it. A bit sensitive to that sort of thing, but on vinyl you can sort of happily adjust that a little bit, and it's not quite so severe. So I'm really happy to have found this on vinyl, and it hadn't, you know, it didn't cost me an arm and a leg. Quite a good deal there. Anyway, while I was looking at this, Sean asked me, "Do you have the Fleetwood Mac album?" What did he say? I can't remember how he described it, and I didn't recognise the one he said, and I said no, I don't think I have. So he sent it to me as a VCLT. There's Mick Fleetwood there on the front. Quite an unusual picture, isn't it? I can't remember which album this is and which line, because this one I think is their follow-up to Rumours, wasn't it? And this is a bit earlier on. Lindsey Buckingham's not in this, and neither is his lady friend. What's her name? Can't remember now. But Christine Perfect is, or at least Christine McVie, who she went on to become. It's a nice record. Thanks very much for sending that, Sean. I've been enjoying this. So it's a different stage of Fleetwood Mac. Also, James Griffiths sent me a really nice CD, sort of deluxe edition of an album of a band who I'm going to show now, and it worked out really well because it's not one that I had that he sent me, but this year I actually stumbled across for the first time this record. Now this was in an inside market in Newton Abbot, down sort of one of the small towns on the south side of Dartmoor, and I flipped through and found a few records there. Lovely place, and I was really happy to find some unusual records, at least unusual to me, and I didn't have this one. It's one that I've seen often showed in the vinyl community. A few people have spoken about it, and so yeah, it was an excellent find. Lovely gatefold. I don't know much about them, I must say. I haven't really had that much time to listen to them, but this is on Harvest, and well, I'm just quite happy now to have this one, and this one. This is another record by them. I found this in Hay-on-Wye. It's a really, really good record shop in Hay-on-Wye, and I think it's Haystacks Records or something like that, and it's also on Harvest. So yeah, when I've got the time and the inclination, I will investigate these because I've got a couple of their really good albums, and everybody really speaks highly of them, so it's something for me to look forward to. Rory Gallagher. I bought this one in Newton Abbot at the inside market. Quite curious about him. Steve Flipside CT spoke about Rory Gallagher quite a lot a couple of years ago, and since then it's always sort of made me quite interested to sort of find out a bit more about him. But you don't see his records about too often. I don't anyway. And so if I see something like this that's an affordable price, then I grab it. This is pretty good. I like it. I think there's often some sort of a reference, isn't there, between him and Hendrix. Apparently somebody asked Hendrix, what's it like to be the best guitar player in the world, and he said, I don't know, ask Rory Gallagher. So I think that's really what's driven me to sort of find out a bit more about him. Difference is, I think, with Rory Gallagher is his guitar is a bit further back in the mix, which in its time was the way things were done. Hendrix was quite unusual in that he bought this. Here's a record by James Brown. It's the James Brown Special. Don't have much by James Brown. Whenever I see his music anywhere, it's often quite expensive. But this is sort of fairly standard fare, I think, at James Brown. I'd love to get a lot more of his music, but I haven't really been on much of a funk or soul journey recently. But this is a great record. It's got all your favourites: Hot Pants, It's Too Funky in Here, Funky Men, Sex Machine. I'm sure there's much more to discover about him. And then I'm going to show this live album, Creedence Clearwater Revival. This was a nice find that I made, and I didn't even know this existed. Creedence Clearwater, I've just recently basically collected everything by them, or sort of completed my collection. Maybe there might be one or two albums that I did at the end of their career that I haven't got, but this otherwise sort of, completes it pretty much. And yeah, Creedence. I mean, everybody likes Creedence, don't they? And it's quite a nice live album. Not the best recording. I don't know if it sounds better on other pressings, but well, there you go. So it is what it is. Recorded during Creedence Clearwater Revival's concert tour of Europe in September 1971. Here I've got another compilation. This is one I picked up at HMY. 7 original stars, 14 original stiffs, Stiff sounds, can't start dancing. It's got a good collection of pop rock artists on here. Oh, Lena Lovitch. You don't really hear much about her anymore, do you? I wonder what happened to Lena Lovitch. Ian Jory, Mickey Jupp. I didn't pay very much for that, but got it just out of interest. And I'm going to show this. This is a bronze sampler, and it's full of all the lovely stuff that you can expect from bronze, EMI. Simple white label. I picked this up in Pale Y, I believe, and yeah, it's a nice thing to have. I've got tracks on here by Uriah Heep, Manfred Mann's Earth Band, who else? Heron, whoever they were, and Asabisa. So yeah, it's a fun little thing. I like these because you can always sort of discover new songs and new artists perhaps you're not familiar with. I mean, Heron, I don't know who they are. I think we'll give them a little listen, shall we?
There is a darkness where no light does shine. Nobody can take the first step out of that. You got to do it yourself. You got to do it yourself. Billy and me would take the south side bus about once in every week. They'd leave me in the bar, and then they'd go off strolling. Well, they'd be back in an hour with money to burn, and never would say everything.
And last but not least, this is a thing I picked up from the local charity shop here in Barry. So it's a Kraftwerk Autobahn. The cover is, yeah, seen better days. Looks like somebody who used to be some sort of a motor mechanic who's been handling this, taking the record out. It's a little grubby here. I guess that's sort of, I don't know, finger grease or whatever. But otherwise, it's quite a nice copy. The record, as you can see, is just, you know, beautiful condition. Bought this in a British Heart Foundation shop. I think I paid about £6 or £7 for it. Don't have anything by them on vinyl, or at least I didn't before I got this. So yeah, what a nice thing to have. It's the original UK press. So yeah, there you go, Kraftwerk. I've got one or two of their albums on CD, I think. I haven't really spent an awful lot of time listening to them. I've always thought them as being sort of like an early new wave type electronic band, but just last year learned that some people count them as being a krautrock, which Surprised me, but there you go, you learn something new every day, don't you? Especially in the field of record collecting. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. Appreciate it if you made it this far through my video. I'm just trying to get these out of the way so I can sort of file them away and yeah, look out for the next lot. Thank you very much. Check out my next video. Bye.